everyone and welcome. This is the start of my weekly reading vlog. It's actually Monday, it's already 7 in the evening, but I have the entire week off. So I thought that I was probably going to read a lot this week, or at least that's what I'm hoping for, because everything is closed here and the weather is awful. So that means that there's not really a lot to do outside. Everything needs to happen inside, and that's probably going to be reading most of all. I already filmed a video today that is up. It's my spoiler-free thoughts for Tender is the Flesh, and I already talked about that in my wrap-up for March. I know that this is not going to get a lot of clicks because it's just such a niche topic and not a lot of people are going to be interested in that. But to be honest, of course it's nice if a lot of people are interested in my videos, because that means that I get a lot of comments as well and a lot of interaction, which is something that I love. But on the other hand, sometimes you just have an idea for a video and you need to get it out of your head, and you know in advance that it's not going to be the video for everyone, but it's out there now. I've said my piece and I'm glad with it. So for what I'm reading, I'm actually in the middle of 4 books right now, which isn't the smartest move ever probably, but as I said, I have the entire week off and I will actually try to finish all of these. I know that I can't. Let's make this clear. I'm not having any imagination problems here. I'm not going to be able to finish these 4 books, but I will try to get as far as possible. And the first book, you're not going to see anything here, but you do see that this is a pretty old cover and you might be able to read Rob and Hobb here. So this is Fool's Errand in Dutch, which is the first book in the Tawny Man trilogy, the 3rd trilogy in the Realm of the Elderlings. And here we follow Fitz again. I am around 100 pages in and I'm actually listening to this one on audiobook, because as I said, I have the Dutch editions and I have noticed that the translation is not the best, to be honest, and that a lot of Robin Hobb's beautiful writing style gets lost. So I'm currently listening to the audiobook, but I actually want to buy all of them in the UK paperback editions. And then for the Farseer trilogy, I do want to have the 2 illustrated editions that are currently out. I think one is by Folio Society and the other one is by HarperCollins in the UK and then Del Rey in the US, but it's basically the same edition. So I want to have those 2. There are some other amazing editions as well, such as the 20th anniversary edition, but those are sold out and you have to pay like €1,000 per book, and I'm crazy but not that crazy. So I want to have those to have just the US or the English versions, because the Dutch translation just really isn't that. So for now I am listening to the audiobook. I'm 100 pages in. I'm loving it. I already have some characters that I'm seeing back from the original Farseer trilogy, so I am prepared to get my heart broken. But normally I don't really listen to audiobooks when I'm not in the car, which is probably what's going to happen this week. But for this one I am going to make an exception and listen when I'm working in the garden, if the weather is okay, because there's a lot of work that I need to do in the garden and just doing chores around the house. So hopefully I can finish this one this week. I think if I listen to it on 2 times speed, it's probably 13 hours and I'm already 2 hours in maybe, so that might be possible. Then the other book that I'm currently reading physically is Lancelot by Giles Kristian, if that's how you pronounce his name. Again, you're not going to see a lot because I removed the dust jacket, and this one I am not that far in. I'm 26 pages in. Now I actually don't know what this is about. I just saw the title Lancelot and I know that Elliot Brooks really loves this book. I'm reading it and so far, so 26 pages, it's not that much, but I'm really enjoying it. However, the writing style is very whimsical, it's almost poetic, and that means that it's a lot to take in sometimes, especially for me. Maybe it is because I'm not a native English speaker, it's not the easiest for me. So I really have to read it in very small parts in order to enjoy the writing style and not get overwhelmed too much. And I feel that maybe that's, again, more for me because I'm not a native English speaker, but I think that in general most people need to read it very slowly in order to enjoy it and not be overwhelmed by this poetic writing style, because it's really throughout. It's not just in the beginning of each chapter, it's throughout the chapters, and it's beautiful, but you really need to pay attention for it to not get it lost, which would be a shame because it's really good. So I think that this is one that I might not be able to finish this week, because I will probably read 1 or 2 chapters a day to not get overwhelmed and to really enjoy what's on the pages. For now, it's only 26 pages, but already a major event took place. So I do think that I will really like this one. Then I am reading a buddy read with Chris over at Chris Bookish Cauldron for The Lost Queen by Signe Pike. This is often compared to Juliette Marley's Daughter of the Forest, which is my favorite book of all time. So this is a historical fantasy. It's set in Britain in the 6th century, and you follow a brother and sister duo, if I'm not mistaken, but most of all the sister, and her brother is actually the person, real life person, on whom the mythology of Merlin, or the legend of Merlin, was based upon. And she falls in love with somebody of the old faith, so of her own people, but she's actually promised to a Christian king, if I'm not mistaken. So you have historical fantasy, which I love. You have nature-based magic, because her brother is Merlin, a druid, or the person whose Merlin is based upon. And you also have a romance that's happening. So this feels like everything that I would enjoy. I also know that Huck over at Badger Reads really enjoys this book, so I'm very excited to read this one. Also because it's one of my first buddy reads. I have done some read-alongs where I do discuss books with other people, but this is really a one-on-one buddy read, so I do hope that we both like this book, but if we don't, we have a lot to discuss, I guess. And then the last book that I actually haven't started yet, but this is one that I'm most certain that I will finish this week, because it's a manga, and it's actually the 3rd book in Vinland Saga. So this is historical manga, and you follow a Viking, or a Viking boy in this one, and his father is actually murdered, and he is with the person who murdered his father, who's also a Viking, and he is basically in his debt, or he's helping that person, but in order to in the end murder him, I'm really not explaining this well, but he stays with that person, and every time that he does something for that person, he says, well, if I do this and I succeed, I will get my one-on-one fight with you and I will kill you. So this has happened a couple of times in the past, but he never really wins. So it's actually a very dark story, a very emotional story. And in the first book, you don't really get that, or maybe not as much. But in the second, it was already a lot more, with a lot of back flashes through his childhood and who his father was and stuff like that. And I think that in this one, it might be even more hard-hitting. This is, at this point, my favorite manga. Now, I must say, I don't really read a lot of manga, but I'm very excited to read this one in between. So, 4 books, and at this point, 6 complete days and 1 evening. I hope that I can finish these, and if I can't, we'll see how far I get. Hi everyone, welcome back. So it's currently Wednesday evening. I didn't really update you yesterday, because yesterday it was my husband's birthday. He turned 28, and with everything going on in the world, his birthday was already depressing because he couldn't really see a lot of people. So I wanted to make it as fun as possible, and well, me reading on my own wasn't really a part of that plan. Ugh, needed to sneeze, excuse me. So we did had a fun day in the end. I think that I showed some clips where we went for a walk with the dogs and the weather turned bad very quickly, so we got home in time and had a fun day, but I didn't really read that much. And then today it was also quite busy because last weekend it was Easter, and I don't really know if this is true for a lot of countries, but in our country the children don't really get only the chocolate eggs, but they also get toys. Now, I have 3 nephews. 2 of them are my husband's and mine's godchild. So we did want to get some toys for all of them. Tomorrow the 2 godchilds are coming over to get their toys. And then next weekend, I think Saturday, the other nephew is also going to collect his toys. So we went to a toy shop today to get some things, and I'm actually really glad with everything that we got. I think that it's very fun in general. So that's what I did today. But not really a lot of updates for reading, except for The Fool's Errand by Rob and Hobb. I listened to the audiobook for a while. I think that I'm 50 pages further than I was originally, so around 150 pages far in a 600-page book. And I'm feeling everything again. So while I was reading the Life Ship Traders trilogy, which is the previous trilogy in the Realm of the Elderlings, I was kind of going back and forth whether or not I liked the Fitz series more than the Life Ship Traders. And now that I'm back with Fitz and the Fool, I just know for a fact that I love Fitz more. I think that the Life Ship Traders trilogy is better in terms of the story and definitely the antagonist. I think that's one of the best villains that I've ever read. But I'm more for the protagonist, the one that we are following, and if I have a strong connection with that one, I think that that overrules everything else, which is the case for Fitz. Just the overall setting, which is more traditional fantasy, is more my thing, I think, that what was in the Life Ship Trader. So even though I love that trilogy as well, I think that the Farseer trilogy up until now is my favorite, and I can already see that this one, the Tawny Man, is probably going to be better, for me at least, because I'm already in the story, I already know the characters, I'm already invested, and I can see that it's going quite slowly, because not a lot has happened at this point in the story, but I just don't mind. I don't care, and I'm just having a lot of fun. So that is what I have been reading for the last 2 days, and I can already see that the goal that I had for finishing these 4 books in my holiday week is not going to happen. But I will try to get as far as possible. And then what I am going to read now is The Lost Queen by Signe Pike, because this is a buddy read with Chris. And I'm not that far in. I'm basically at chapter 3. I have to start chapter 3, which is at page 22. But I am going to try to read a big chunk right now so I can update Chris about my thoughts and we can have some chat about that. So, going to read right now. Hi and welcome to a realistic update, because it's currently Friday evening and what I set up to do in the beginning of this vlog on Monday, it's not going to work. I feel like if you are somebody who watch my vlogs regularly, you know that I always have these unrealistic goals that I can never make true. But if you're new here, this is normal basically. For Lancelot and Vinland Saga, I didn't pick those ones up, so I'm not going to talk about them, but Fool's Errand by Hobb and The Lost Queen by Signe Pike I have made some progress in, even though it's nowhere near what I would have liked. But these two I will try to finish by Sunday evening, or at least get through for a big part of it and then finish them the beginning of next week. So what basically happens when I have a holiday, I have 2 types of holidays. One type is when I'm home alone, so my husband is still going off to work. And those are the me time holidays where I do read a ton of books. And then we have the holidays where my husband is also at home. And then we have the us time. Now, of course I love that, and I will also always prioritize that over just reading books. But it was this kind of holiday, and I should have known that and not put 4 books on my TBR to finish in 1 week. So that's why I'm glad that I didn't have a lot of time to read, because that means that we had fun, and you probably also saw that in some of my video footage that I included in this vlog, but that's what happened. Now, for Fool's Errand, I am currently at page 230, so that's a little bit over 1/3 of the way, I think, and I am completely loving this. I love being back with Fitz and some of his acquaintances. Fitz just made some sort of journey towards a certain destination that I'm really enjoying. There's also a problem that's now being discussed a little bit, which I also enjoy. But we also have some heartbreak that is going to come, or at least it feels like there's a running up towards something that you know that will happen. It's inevitable, but my heart is going to be broken yet again, so that's normal. We're in the 6 duchies. This is going to happen. But as I said, I'm really loving this. This was on my 5-star recommendations video, so it's going to probably stay there and become a 5-star read. Then for The Lost Queen, I'm not far in. I'm 75 pages in. It's a 500-page book, so I really need to try to make a lot of progress in this one. But I don't think that it will be difficult, because this feels a lot like Juliette Marillier, which is what I was hoping for. So I'm quite happy that that's the case. We follow a young girl. It's first person, so that's something that I love if it's done well, but I'm quite critical in how it's done. But up until now, I don't have any complaints. I'm liking it. This girl is some sort of healer. She has a brother, she has a father, she has a great relationship with them, which kind of reminds me with Sorka and her family bonds. And yeah, I feel like this is going to be a very interesting read, but I also feel like 75 pages in, I don't know enough, and I think that what is going to come is going to be even better than what I have read so far. So it's currently 8:30, but my husband wants to watch a movie tonight. We're probably going to watch La La Land. I don't think that he's a big fan of that, but I want to watch it. And maybe Dr. Sleep, because I completely forgot that that was a movie that actually came out, and I haven't watched that one yet. But I don't know if I want to be scared tonight, so we'll see. But if we finish the movie early and I still have some time, I will definitely make progress in The Lost Queen first. Hi everyone, and welcome back. So I was editing this vlog and I was actually going to upload it today when I figured out that I never filmed a closing clip. So I'm just going to do it now, even though it's a week after date. And maybe that's a good thing, because full transparency, I didn't end any or finished any of the books by the end of my holiday. That's just what happens with me. I had a pretty hectic week, and I will elaborate a little bit after I talk about the books. But by now I did finish one book, and that is Fool's Errand by Hobb, and I completely loved this. I think this was one of my 5-star predictions, and yes, it's a new favorite. In general, I just love Fitz. I loved the Farseer trilogy, and here we're back with Fitz and some of the characters that we knew from the Farseer trilogy. In this one, there are also a lot of Easter eggs, especially if you've read the Live Ship Traders trilogy, so I would definitely recommend that you read that one before you pick up the Tawny Man. I think that the first half of this book was definitely very slow. If you read the Farseer trilogy and you didn't really mind that, then you're not going to have a problem here. I actually really loved that. Even though not a lot was happening, you were still following the characters and got a little bit up to speed of what they were doing when you weren't with them and when you were on the Live Ship Trader, so a different part of that world. There are also some reoccurring characters, side characters that I really enjoy, and also the new character actually, because in the beginning I found him pretty annoying, but by the end I really loved him. So I cannot wait to read the second and the third book in this trilogy. So quite happy with that. Then, so Lost Queen, I still haven't finished this one. I'm currently 400 pages in, so at least almost done. And I'm really enjoying this one, but I just had a pretty hectic week, as I said before. Basically, work was very hectic, and then they are working in our lawn where the dogs are normally sitting. So this means that the dogs cannot go out, and this has been that way for the entire week. So before I go to work, and I leave before 6 in the morning, I have to walk the dogs, and then when I get home, of course. So a lot of time is spent on that, and also working in the garden, because we do try to help a little bit ourselves. In the next vlog, I will probably show you some footage of what is happening. It's a big thing that we're pulling off here. So that was pretty hectic. And then yesterday, so okay, this is not an excuse for not finishing this book during my holiday, but then yesterday, because everything was so hectic, I actually burned my hand with boiling water. So it's not that bad. It's 2nd degree burns, so it's fine, but I can't really use it. So it's a little bit difficult reading books sometimes, because if I use my thumb too much, and I know that I have to use it, I have a lot of friends who are doctors who said you need to use it because otherwise it's going to be difficult later on. But if I use it too long while I'm reading a book, it hurts a lot. So all of that is happening. And on top of that, if you're wondering why I look horrible, I have a severe case of allergies, and they are definitely working up right now. So, but really loving this one, and I am definitely going to finish this one before next weekend. Like, that's a promise. Then I also picked up a new audiobook this time, so The Last Argument of Kings, the last book in the First Law trilogy. Really enjoying this one. I have a couple of predictions actually, but those are spoilery, so I won't tell any of them. I think that some of them might be far-fetched, but on the other hand, I've had this prediction from the first book, and everything that I'm reading is leaning towards that. So I'm going to be very glad if I'm actually right, and if I'm not, well, what did I expect? So that's what I've been up to, even the week after my holiday, basically. I hope that you enjoyed this vlog a little bit. Please let me know in the comments down below if you had an Easter holiday and what you did during Easter. And as always, I hope you enjoyed the vlog, and see you next time. Bye!